Why did Patrick choose to speak about this topic? I'm getting ready to start my 41st year in the marching band, the senior marching band. It has been a wonderful journey packed with unforgettable experiences, valuable life-changing lessons, and lifelong friendship. I asked him about 9/11, and he said I was an operations supervisor for a public utility and was out checking on my employees in the field. I had heard on the radio that someone had flown a plane into the World Trade Center. In my mind's eye, I could picture a small personal plane with the tail sticking out of the building. Details were sketchy, and I didn't think that there was more to the story until my guys started to call me, asking to leave work early, and that is when I became concerned. Interesting. I made sure that everyone finished their current work and even helped out if necessary. Then they went home one by one. We were put on emergency-only status. All non-essential work was postponed or rescheduled. I put off watching TV news because, just like the Challenger explosion, I knew once I started watching, I would be there for hours, and I was. Like the majority of Americans, I felt like I was punched in the soul. I couldn't believe what happened. I asked him if he felt our country was stronger. He said no. He wants to change with a question mark, but there's only an hour and a half in the meeting. Interesting. With that, let's put our hands together for Mr. Patrick Garey.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests, welcome this evening. I forgot my clicker over here. This evening, I'm going to take you down memory lane with some pictures and some stories. Before I get into that, I want to tell you that this last weekend, the Hilliard High School class of 1976 celebrated their 40th reunion. Who here has been to their class reunions?
Not 40.
You guys have been yet?
I don't think they
I do it every 5 years. Anyway, if you haven't been to a class reunion, it is a time when you get to come together and exaggerate about the older you get, the better you are. Okay, when I started thinking about that milestone for the class of 76, it reminded me of when I first started in marching band. When I was in middle school, elementary, I was in band, but I was also a football player. I had a great distaste for marching band. I had no desire whatsoever to march, as some people would say with dead animal hats. It was a little bit different style back in the day, but you had the chicken sticking out of the top. And so I felt as long as I was playing football, I was safe from the marching band curse. But in my sophomore year, I hurt my knees, both of them, and I couldn't play football anymore. Ironically, I rode my bike to practice to tell the coach, and man, I hurt with my knees. So I'm sitting at home, feeling sorry for myself, and then I had this anxiety attack that since I'm not playing football, I have to go to band camp. So band camp was on the schedule. I told Sam I wouldn't start the speech with there's this one time at band camp. So before band camp even started, I got a call does this have to do with, go ahead and click that, if you would. And this is what came up. How many of you remember Bordenberger food? I know you guys don't. This is an ad for Bordenberger food at the Ohio State Fair. And this young lad right here, before he even takes his first step at band camp, was in the front row, playing his trombone. How about that? Go ahead. Whoops, I went a couple of them. We're going to go back previous. Actually, I want to do this. I want a refund on that clicker. Okay. So I marched my first year as a French horn player in marching band. Did pretty good. Not as good as I thought I did. The squad leader in the squad next over tried to get me to quit all year. But the next year, I was asked to be the field commander, which would have been Hilliard's first field commander. And that would have been my junior year. And in my, I don't know if they have this anymore for guys, home ec for guys, bachelor living, something like that. I did some uniforms. And I actually designed a Vegas uniform. I also designed, I didn't make the color guard uniform, but those are my designs as well. It was very successful. We had a great year. We also had, we won our first grand championship. And you can tell by the trophies we did pretty well. And by the fashions, it was definitely the 70s. Okay, so after high school, I went and marched with a drum corps called the Marion Cadets. And I was their drum major, field commander. And I continued to help at Garey High School as a visual design consultant. Next thing that happened is I got an audition for the Phantom Regiment in Rockford, Illinois. It was an awesome experience, and I was nervous as all get out. I made the corps as an alternate, and I only had to march alternate twice. I got my own spot. We got to play for people like Arthur Fiedler. Anybody remember him? He was the conductor for the Boston Pops. He conducted classical music, and that was right down our wheelhouse. We played classical music as well. We played for Lionel Richie of the Commodores. Anybody remember him? Absolutely. Sports commentator Kurt Gowdy was a commentator for our international championships on TV, as was Rita Moreno. Anybody remember her? Broadway. Jazz greats Chuck Mangione and Maynard Ferguson. There you go. Maynard Ferguson, we ended up sharing a stage in Chicago at the Music Merchants Convention, playing Stars and Stripes Forever for all things. Our forte is classical music, as I mentioned. We played Spartacus, which is one of my favorite ballets by Cacciaturian. And you can't have a story about Roman slaves without togas. So, that was in Montreal. You can tell everything's in French in the back. There you go. After high school, excuse me, I didn't tell you this part. The night that I aged out, we had this crowd at Montreal's Olympic Stadium. There was 35,947 people, paid people in attendance. There was about 2,000 more that were participants in the prelims, all the way back to Class A. After that night, attendance was never the same. So I'm wondering if it was my last night, and it was never the same after that. You can draw your own conclusions with that. After that, I got into the judging community, and I started judging, and it's been very, very rewarding for me. And a couple of years ago, I got to judge with my band director and the assistant band director down at the show in Cincinnati. So it's been a great trip for me. And what's next after 40 years? Well, tomorrow night, my youngest son is going to take the field with the Bradley Marching Band. And Saturday night is going to be our home show, our marching band show in Hilliard. So I'm really looking forward to the future, and I've really enjoyed the